I 31 female kinda got ghosted by my husband 33 male. I am in a really horrible situation and I have no idea what to do right now. I am very new to Reddit and just needed advice, so sorry in advance for the format and the length. This is very long. I am probably gonna get flamed for this, but while you're at it, at least give me advice on how to proceed. My husband and I have been together for 8 years and married for 6. We have a son together, 4 male, and have been in a very happy and fulfilling relationship. Until about 6 months ago, I started an affair with my ex from college that lasted about 4 months. I genuinely had no intentions of cheating and thought of it as just catching up with an old friend when he reached out to me. I don't even know why I did it or why I let it go on for so long. So yeah, it lasted for 4 months and we were regularly having sex both at mine and my husband's home, my app's home, and hotels whenever his place was unavailable. And yes, he is married with 3 kids. During this time I became increasingly distant from my husband and he began to notice. He is a very smart man and knows whenever something isn't right. Well, one night he asked me flat out if I was cheating on him. I denied it, of course, but he didn't back down. He told me while looking into my eyes that he knew something was up, but that he was going to let this go because he had no proof. However, he said if he found out down the road that I had lied to him, we would be done. No questions asked. I took that threat very seriously and immediately ended it with the AP. He reluctantly agreed to end it and I devoted myself to being the best wife and mother I possibly could. I felt very guilty of how I had neglected my husband and started initiating intercourse more, doing things in bed I normally wouldn't do, helping more around the house. And with our kid, my husband was very cold to me in the beginning, but things went back to normal after a while. One day my AP contacted me again via Facebook. I told him in no uncertain terms that we were done, but he said he wanted us to meet one last time. I foolishly agreed to this and we decided to meet up at a hotel 2 hours from where I live. I wanted to experience this one last time before calling it quits for good. As you can guess already, this didn't go according to plan. After AP and I were done with the deed, I received a short text from my husband that read, "I know who you are with, and what you're doing. We are done. Don't bother coming back home. I've transferred half of our savings into your checking account. Have a good life." I can't describe the wave of emotions I felt at that moment. I tried calling him and texting him, but he had me blocked on everything. He eventually unblocked my phone number but said it was only to deal with our son. Everything else was going to be through his lawyer. I've never been more depressed in my life than I was when this happened. I decided to go home the next day, but he wasn't there. Neither was our son. Whenever I texted him he would only respond if I asked about my son. He sent me a text saying we would each have our son for a week and nothing else. I couldn't talk to his side of the family cause they all had me blocked and my family was very disappointed in me. My best friend is the only person I could talk to. I had literally no contact with my husband for a whole week, and when I did it was to inform me that his brother would be bringing our son over to me for my week of custody. This was the most painful period of my life. How could he be so cruel and indifferent? Aren't we supposed to talk about things like this? I know I probably deserve it, but he never even gave me the chance to apologize or explain. The guilt I have and the way he is treating me are literally driving me insane. I feel like he never even loved me if he can be this emotionless. I am not even asking him to take me back, just to talk. Yell at me. Anything. Doesn't he want some form of closure at least? This brings me to today. I got served divorce papers and I literally can't believe he'd go this far without even having as much as a talk. Yes, I shouldn't have cheated, but I can't help but feel like his reaction is very childish. I haven't even read the papers or hired a lawyer. Things just can't end this way. I sent him a text telling him that I would contest this divorce even if it leaves us in financial ruin. So my question to all you strangers is, what should I do? I am really lost right now and I can't even function. I can't believe my whole life is about to end and I am not even being given the chance to fix it. Should I contact the police since I don't know where he is and he changed the locks to our house? Any advice will be appreciated. Too long didn't read I'd cheated on my husband. And now he won't talk to me and want a divorce. What do I do to win him back? You think your husband's reaction of your ongoing affair is childish? You should have posted on "Am I the a-hole?" because yes, you are the a-hole. Your husband is justified, so put your big girl underwear on and deal with the consequences of your actions. I read through your post and it strikes me how very much of it is all about you. There's really no respect in there for your husband as his own person. It's almost like you are incapable of feeling anything for him. Everything that you feel is about you. There is nothing that you can do to win him back. He is not coming back. That life is over now and all you have is to move on. I think that it would be good for you to talk to a counselor or therapist about how you can start working on being more compassionate and empathetic with other people. Your life is slowly revolving around you and it is like you are not capable of thinking about other people at all. Sorry, but you're 100% in the wrong here. You cheated on your husband for months. He told you if he found out you had been cheating he'd leave you. And so what did you do? Do it again. You're a childish and selfish person, and I applaud your ex for getting out of a relationship with such a horrible person. Second story. I 34F discovered last night that my husband 35 meters has been having an online affair for 5 months. Don't know where to go from here. Last night as we were sitting down to dinner, I went to turn off the music that my husband had playing on his phone and noticed a push notification from WhatsApp, where he was apparently having a conversation with a woman named Donnell, all names changed, where she was clearly responding to what we had done that day. I immediately found it suspicious because he is not a texting type person at all. In fact, I had no idea he even had WhatsApp. After dinner I decided to look. We've always had an open phone policy, as at least until now. Neither of us have ever had anything to hide. I discovered conversations with this woman. They were sharing photos of each other, mostly headshots from what I could see at least. And he was sharing photos and videos of our children with her. I decided to scroll back as far as I could to see how long this had been going on. I got to February and stopped when it became clear it was going to keep going. And I went into the kitchen and said, "Carter, who the duck is Donnell?" And he looked at me and went white and just said, "Oh shit." I decided to leave and go for a walk as I was going to start crying, and I didn't want to upset the kids. When I came back, we put them to bed and then had a conversation, where he told me he had been talking to her since January of this year. He met her on Tinder and she lives in Brazil, so they've never met in person, but they have texted and shared intimate photos. He said he specifically sought out an emotional relationship because I'm so cold and emotionless, and he needed to get affection and attention from somewhere. Apparently he's been thinking about doing this for years, and said if it didn't happen now, it was going to happen eventually. So I guess him cheating on me was an inevitability to him. I'm so blown away. Our marriage is definitely going through a rough patch. X is non-existent and complicated by sexual trauma of mine, but I can't tell you how many times over the course of our marriage I've said Carter is not the cheating type. I literally never thought that he would do this in a million years. I feel betrayed, angry, heartbroken. I told him I would have rather had him duck some rando than carry on an emotional relationship with some other woman for months, sharing our lives and our children with her. That part makes me the most sick. But he said there is kids too, so he should get to share them if he wants. He doesn't want a divorce. He doesn't want to break up our family, and he says the kids and I are the most important thing to him. And that this was a selfish decision he made that has nothing to do with me. I'm having a hard time believing him. I feel numb. And I have no idea what to do. My trust is shattered. My heart is broken and I'm just lost. I don't know what I should be feeling. He's at work right now, and when he gets home my best friend is going to stay with the kids so we can go and talk. I don't even know what else to say or ask at this point. I guess I just need some guidance because I feel like I'm drifting and need direction on where to go from here. Oh, he also refuses to let me read their conversations because it will just hurt me, and change the passcode on his phone for the first time in 10 years. He said it's a violation of privacy to let me read them, but I feel like there's no expectation of privacy with someone you're having an affair with. Am I off base here? What argument do I use to make him show me? I don't know why I need to read it, but I do. Please help. Too long didn't read. Discovered last night that my husband of 9 years has been having an emotional affair with a woman he met through Tinder for the last 5 months. Don't know what to do now. Nowhere here did he say he was going to stop talking to her. Is that correct? He plans on continuing the affair with your knowledge. I am so incredibly sorry. I know it's not easy, but I don't see a way out of this rough patch other than leaving. All I have to add to all the other good advice is, I noticed he met this woman on Tinder. Why did he have a Tinder, and who has he matched with that doesn't live in Brazil? Third story. I left my cheating ex on the top of a mountain. Too long didn't read. My ex cheated on me and I took him to the top of a high mountain. Broke up with him. And left him without a ride home. He made it back safely. Edit. Thank you for all the awards, kind strangers. I will be sure to pay it forward. I've been on Reddit for a while now, but I've never had anything noteworthy to post, so I'm excited about this despite it being a shitty time in my life. Also, I'm on my phone, so sorry if it's getting messed up. This happened a few hours ago and I still have a bunch of adrenaline. So I've F20 been dating this guy M22 for a little over a year now, and it's been nice even though we have our differences. I love to work out. I run up and down 14 hours in my free time, and he's always been sorta lazy and out of shape but is still easy on the eyes, so it's never been an issue. Recently though, my girlfriend was at a bar with some of our other mutual friends and coincidentally, and luckily, saw him out with the boys as he said he would be. But his ex was there with him along with some other girls. She figured they just ran into each other. He's never done anything suspicious before, but I guess I've been a bit too trusting. She said she just kinda looked over there occasionally but decided to text me when they were 05 till too close. I called him because like WTH he said he'd just be with the boys, and he said he'd be home when he got home, and hung up. At this point I realized that I hadn't been paying much attention to his behavior, not him. We literally lived together being preoccupied with college work, and everything that I brushed off fell into place, and I realized he was most definitely hooking up with his ex. He always stayed out late, Would ignore my texts and calls for hours. Hung out with his friends but never invited me and has always been ridiculously protective of his phone, saying he wants to live his own life and it's private, which I should have called him out on, but I'm way too naive, I guess. This was my first real relationship. Anyways, he got home way late, like 3 a.m. I hadn't heard anything from my friend or him, but had been staying up plotting my revenge because a breakup over this type of thing isn't enough. I demanded that he give me his phone, and when he refused, I straight up said, then pack your shit and leave. He's not in the contract. Just been staying with me and my roommate and giving me rent since COVID started. I guess he didn't realize I would actually say something like that. I've always been super gushy over him and basically tend to his every need. Clearly I would never be the one to break us up. He gave me his phone and I didn't know where to start, but eventually found a messaging app I've never heard of, and sure enough, when I opened it, the first name to pop up was his ex. Turns out they met almost every weekend for drinks or a restaurant, and most definitely hooked up afterwards, as well as sent some pics to each other. I was pissed. Boo had already had some petty revenge planned. He said the classic shit like, I can be better. I never meant to hurt you, I'm so sorry. You've been nothing but good to me, and the infamous I can change. I had been waiting for that, so I said prove it. Come on my hike with me tomorrow. Show me that you can change your ways and do something I like for once. I'm fairly manipulative. Oops. I've been trying to hit a 14 emergency room 14000 female mountain for those who don't live in Colorado a weekend since the season started, and have been fairly successful, only missing 1 week. I had been planning to finally do Long's Peak, but he would definitely not have made it to the top, so we did an easier one instead. Hiking up, he was a beach and we stopped about every 30 minutes for him, making it a very boring 8-hour trip to the top. He was definitely trying to be nicer and sweeter than he has been, but it was kind of just pathetic at that point. I already knew I'd never take back a cheater. When we got to the top, he sat down immediately and drank the rest of his water despite me warning him he'd definitely need it for the hike down. I took some obligatory pictures since this was still one I'd never done before, then gave him a kiss because goddamn those lips still, and said we're officially over, then turned to start my jog down. He was exhausted and couldn't keep up for long once we hit the trail again, but he was saying a bunch of stuff that I mostly tuned out, but I heard him say, slow down, you're just gonna have to wait in the car. Beach, to which I said, just call a friend. Or better yet, your ex. I'm writing this in the car right now, and since I don't have the reception, hopefully it'll reach Reddit while I go home. It was a pretty long hike, so I doubt he'll be home for a while. He does have reception and there's a water fountain at the trailhead. I made sure I'm not too much of in a hole. I don't know how things will turn out when he comes to get his stuff and where he'll go after, but I might update this if anything interesting happens. I'm really happy despite everything. I commented an update, but people said just edit it into the post, so here. Update. I wasn't going to do this for a while until all of his stuff is moved out, but I would love to address all of the comments concerned on his health and the whole kicking him out situation. People will probably be disappointed with this as it's not that interesting and I didn't add to the revenge at all, but this is apparently necessary. To all the people posting hiking horror stories and calling me psychotic. A little background on my ex: he grew up in Canada with an extremely outdoorsy family who loves to camp. Taught him basic survival. And also forced him on hikes as a kid. We have both camped together and snowboarded together. I ensured his pack would be enough should he get lost. He had a survival beacon that I use for backcountry skiing, paracord, a knife, compass, first aid kit, emergency blanket, whistle, bear spray, flashlight, ferro rod, like 3 or 4 Cliff Bars left, proper layered clothing, and probably other stuff I'm forgetting that I shoved in there. He is no dumbass to the wilderness and can follow a trail that was extremely, at least to me, heavily trafficked yesterday. He got dropped off by his friend and sure enough did not feel like moving all his shit out, which was fine. It was a long day. He slept on the couch and I got everything of his out of my room last night. I was going to help out downstairs with getting all the little things of his since he's pretty moved in, but his ex showed up to help him pack, so now I'm just in my room writing this. We talked a little bit last night because I was curious about, well, everything. He was extremely pissed, but I think too tired to take it out yelling, not physical. He said he stayed a ways behind a large group and kept their pace today. I learned he got to tree line, then lost them. He thinks it took him about 5 hours to get down, but he's kinda terrible at time estimates, so could have been shorter or longer. For those concerned about him having daylight left, people start 14 hours way early in the morning, if they're not running up them. And we particularly started around 4:30 a.m. Summited around 12:15, and he had plenty of time to get out before nightfall. Additionally, I'm not sure when it posted because it was my first and only post and I didn't get any notification thing that it ever went up while I was driving or when I was home. I woke up to all these comments. He's moving in with his ex and mentioned nothing about me illegally kicking him out, which I doubt he is concerned about. Yeah, he gets mail here, but I don't think he would consider he has a legal case if he even does. All in all, things went well and I'll never forget the look on his face at the summit. Mount Elbert, for those asking. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.